Hello and welcome to another video. In this video, we're going to continue on with the TypeScript line 75, and we're going to be doing meeting names. So in this problem, you're given an array of meeting time intervals, where intervals I start, end, and determine if a person can attend all the meetings. So in this first one, I guess we should walk through and why it would be false, right? So first thing you want to do for pretty much every interval problem is you want to sort the intervals. So let's just do that to start off and then see why we have it. And we're going to sort it by the start time. We have 0:30, 5:10, and 15:20. So why is this false? Well, there's a meeting that runs from 0 to 30, and then there's a meeting that runs from 5 to 10. So this 5 to 10 is running while this is running as well, right? Like if you think about it in terms of minutes, so this runs from 0 minutes to 30 minutes, and during that time, this one is also going. Okay, so in the second one, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sort them, and we're going to get 7, 10. So in this one, it is possible to attend them because the first meeting runs from minutes 2 to 4, and then the second one runs from 7 to 10. So they're not overlapping. The key is basically, is there an overlap, right? And so how do you determine if there's an overlap after sorting? That part is pretty straightforward. What you need to do to make sure that a person can attend every meeting is you need to make sure that for every meeting, it ends before the next one starts or at the same time. I think like if this one ends at 5 and the next one starts at 5, I think that is allowed. That's kind of depend on the problem. Some of them say this is allowed, some of them is not allowed. We're going to assume this is allowed, and then if we get an error, we can always change it. But yeah, essentially you sort them, and then you just check. You just make sure like this meeting ends before this one starts, and then this meeting ends before this one starts, and so on. And if there's ever a case of that not being the case, then you would just return false. So if this is the start and the end, you would simply just loop through every meeting, and you just check, is the end of that meeting before the next one starts? And if there's ever a false, you would just return false. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Just sort and just compare the end of one meeting to the start of another. And that kind of makes sense logically, right? In order to attend every meeting, you have to make sure that the meeting you're in ends before the next one starts. Because if you can't attend it, that means you're in a meeting while the next one starts. That literally is the definition of missing a meeting, right? So that's kind of the same logic here, is you just check, does my meeting end before the next one starts? And you want to sort them by start dates because obviously you have to start, like if you can attend them all, you're going to start with the ones that start first, right? So if one meeting starts at 0, one meeting starts at 5, one meeting starts at 15, you're going to have to go to the 0 meeting, then the 5 meeting, then the 15 meeting. And so that's pretty much it. So now we can code it up. So what we're going to want to do is we are going to want to sort this. So we're going to sort intervals sort, and we're going to have a function that takes a and b. And what we need to do is we need to compare their starting indices, right? So a and b are going to be an array of length 2. So normally if this was 2 numbers, you would just do a minus b to get a increasing sort. But because this is an array, we'll do a0 minus b0. And there we go. So now we have them sorted. Now all we have to do is loop through every interval and compare it to every other interval. Not every other interval, the interval after. So we're going to loop through every interval except for the last interval because there is nothing after that one, right? So if we go back to the picture, we don't really need to check this one here because there's nothing after it, right? So if you can make it here without missing anything, then obviously you're good. So that's what we're going to do. So we're just going to say for 0 I is less than length or intervals length minus 1. We don't care about the last one, but we want to check every other one I++. Now we simply say if intervals I. So we want the end of the first meeting, which is going to be at index 1 is greater than. So if the end of the first meeting is greater than the start of the next one, that means we can't make the next one. So intervals I+1, and then the start is going to be at index 0. We can just return false. And if we make it through this loop successfully, then we know we made it to every meeting, so we can return true. And that should be it. Let's take a look. I don't see any errors. There we go. Okay. So there we go. And then let's go through the time and space for this one really quick. So essentially to sort is n log n. And for almost every interval problem, you're going to want to start off with a sort because usually you're going to have to compare intervals to intervals that come after them, like merge intervals, insert interval, all of that kind of stuff. You're pretty much always going to want to sort. So n log n here, and this for loop is just O of n, and the space is O1. Because we just sorted and we're just comparing intervals, we're not using any variables here except for I guess. Yeah, so that's going to be it for this problem. Hopefully you liked it, and if you did, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. And I'll see you in the next TypeScript video tomorrow. So thanks for watching.